full workout explanation for back, chest, and abductors day. The first two are the Hinged barbell row and barbell good mornings. These moves are similar in that I'm essentially working the same muscles but in different ways. On the hinged barbell rows, I'm challenging the glutes and hamstrings the whole time in the hinged position and fluctuating the challenge to the mid-back with the rows. The good mornings provide more of a steady challenge to the mid-back to stabilize the barbell, and then the challenge to the glutes and hamstrings fluctuates as I hinge and pop back up. Hip thrust piriformis stretch. First off, don't do this if you have knee stability issues. It's really easy for a small tweak to turn disastrous. This one is mostly for hamstrings and glutes again, but adds my flavor, which is incorporating stretching and mobility work at the same time. By crossing the ankle over the knee, I get a greater challenge to the glutes and hamstrings of the base leg, while also getting a stretch of the piriformis muscle in the bent leg. By the way, the piriformis is a deep muscle in the hip that helps it externally rotate and is also associated with trauma release. Banded lateral walk. This one is all about the hip abductors, which move the leg away from the midline of the body. These smaller movements target the gluteus minimus and medius, which are deeper muscles and can be missed with larger ranges of motion. The hinging motion is imperative because that's where the bulk of the benefits reside by transferring weight to the back of the body to allow for the isometric or steady contraction of those muscles. Banded chest fly. This is another where I've combined everything to make it work for my body. Since my chest is tight from having forward rounded shoulders, I don't want to build a lot of strength in that same area that's already tight. By using a lightweight resistance band and starting at a point where the resistance creates a stretch for my chest, I get the strengthening challenge by flying my arms forward and the stretch of allowing the band to pull them back. Keep a slight bend in the elbows for safety. Banded single leg hinge. This is another for hip mobility using the hinging motion, which means strengthening the glutes and hamstrings too. You can also begin to lift the foot off the ground to add a proprioceptive challenge with some balance. I like to use these single leg movements to notice differences in side-to-side mobility or flexibility so I can adjust accordingly in life or workouts or whatever. So for example, my right hip and hamstrings are much tighter, so I'm sure to give them a little extra love without pushing them to try to be like the left side because that's just not fair, you know? And then last, banded shoulder abduction with external rotation. When the shoulders are rounded inward, we want to strengthen our external rotators of the scapula to start to balance things out, and this is a great way. If I were to eliminate that rotation and lift my arms straight up at my sides, I'd be eliminating the scapular stability component, and it would become work for the upper trapezius and deltoids instead. By the way, I'm using a light band. It's only 10 pounds because the muscles of the scapula are small. Remember, match muscle and resistance size and always err on the side of caution. I hope this was helpful. Next week, I will dive into the recent bicep, tricep, and adductor workout.